Hello guys, playing Instructive Rapid today. If I find somebody to play against. I needed to fix the camera before the start, but okay. Cares. I care. Okay, waiting for somebody to play some rapid games and explaining my thinking process. Nobody yet. Well, basically, I'm one of the higher rated players on League Chess in Rapid. Obviously, in Rapid, um, nobody plays. I mean, there are no strong players. There are no strong players playing Rapid usually. Спасибо, но пока нету соперника, да, чтобы смотреть что-то. Ну, не ческом, потому что на личесе хотя бы я тут на главной есть. Хотя бы видно, что, скажем, кто-то, ну, что я стримлю. А на ческоме этого нет. Но потом и будет на ческоме попозже. So, nobody... No, English, of course. English, of course. Just, you know, if... obviously, if somebody asks me something in Russian, then I can obviously answer in Russian. This is actually funny because I don't know how it works on YouTube, but I see your comments in Russian because there is some auto translator here, and I don't know, like probably I can fix it somewhere. And first, when this guy asked me a few questions in Russian, I wanted to answer in English, but what I do, I I bring my mouse there to because like that translation to Russian is, let's say, so. And so I, like previous Saturday, I was putting my mouse. So you put your mouse on the text and it shows the original text. And so when I put my mouse there, like there was no, no translation to English. And I realized that the text is really in Russian. But I see all comments in Russian actually, and only when I put my bring my mouse there, put it on the text, I can see it original version. I don't know, like probably there are some settings to change on YouTube. No, last Saturday it was okay. I was able to find somebody to play against, and like several opponents. Maybe okay. Maybe let's challenge 10 plus 5. Okay, maybe let's warm up 3 plus, or at least like it's like at least starting. So then get like playing a few games, and then I will get somebody to play against. Maybe. A Scandinavian Gambit, something I play mainly online. Like 27 to 25, and he was afraid to grab the pawn. Take with the queen. Here, an interesting choice. I can just take the pawn, or maybe I can play queen d1, then let's go for initiative. And then, what now? I need to develop the bishop first, probably, like maybe bishop f5, then knight d7, castling long with check, or kind of. And probably white is doing okay, but I think black is also doing okay. The only problem, I wish I could put my knight somewhere else, or like I would castle with a check. Yeah, bishop d3 is a good idea by the guy. Okay, let's play bishop g6. f5 is not a problem. I have this. And I'm ready to castle and to play knight c5. If he takes on g6, 8 g6. Start with knight c5. Now my rook is in play. Well, probably it was not a great idea. Not a great idea at all. Or I should have done something in a better way. Now I'm just a pawn down. There is some compensation probably, but not more than that. Oh, thank you very much. A blunder by my opponent. Now I'm doing well. Let's go for bishop c5, developing the bishop. And the problem for him that... he has e2 square. I didn't see that. Let's play rook e8, developing the rook. Maybe f6, maybe knight d7. This is my target. Oh, he's gonna play knight c4. Okay, let's go for knight e7, putting it on d5. Knight d6, there is rook takes d6. Actually, he doesn't even have a good square for his king. King g2, yeah, this one I have knight takes c3. Would be knight f2. Okay, let's play one more game, one more blitz game, and then finally, like, try to catch somebody in a rapid. So a3, a sideline. That's funny, but now I can play d4. This is the whole point. So I have a good version of 4 knights. Now I think something like a good version of a Scotch game. This is a pretty good position for me. Should I castle? Let's castle. Let's take on b6. And bishop e2, perhaps. e5, no, e5 not yet. There will be knight g4. So bishop e2 is about developing the bishop, controlling g4, and considering e5. Or maybe, by the way, f4 next move. I have a pawn majority on the king side. So basically, for example, if we exchange the rooks, then it will be a winning position for me. Like if h3, h4 is not so clear how it is. If it is pleasant for me or not. e5, now he is ready to play knight g4. That's the point. Let's just do okay. Let's just do f3. I have my plans. I have my ideas. And I'll bring my king to the center since this is the end game. g3, f4 next. f4 is an idea here. Let's go. The problem when the opponent has the double pawns like this one would be even better for me. It's not easy for them to create a passed pawn. While for me, it is way easier to do that. I mean, for example, the pawn endgame is just completely lost for black. And this is a technically winning position. Maybe it makes sense to play rook d2 in like doing it in a solid way, but let's go for rook b7, making it in a more concrete way. Maybe it's not a great idea to do it in a more concrete way, but okay. And now I will go after the f7 pawn, put my rook behind the h pawn, and it will be an easy win. Okay, so now let's try to find somebody. I guess there should be somebody rated 23, like higher than 2370, who would like to play a game. Thank you. I thought to joke like this is because I'm from England, let's say, or this is because I'm from the United States. But no, I'm not from there. What this? Where is everybody? If there will be nobody to play 10 plus or, I'm going to challenge somebody like maybe 5 plus 3, then 5 plus or, then 3 plus 2, 3 plus or. Well, then on 3 plus or, I will for sure find somebody. For blitz, not bad. Yeah, 38. 38. If I get to like what I need, any 845, I need, for example, this is top 10, 60 points on blitz. Get into top 10. Okay, let's go. Somebody, like maybe somebody watching this broadcast because he challenged me. Okay, so let's go. e4, c5. Let's go for knight f3. I'm not one e4 player, so I just do something. Or here I know a line. There is a funny line with d4, queen d4. And after knight c6, white plays queen e3. I know almost nothing here. I know almost nothing here. I'm not even sure if the move is queen e3 and not queen d3. Probably queen e3. But I'm not so sure. Maybe also it's not a great idea to play openings like this on an instructive stream. But at the same time, actually, this is real life. And when you play... Yeah, maybe d3 is the square, so I would be able to develop my bishop. I don't know. So, okay, now I got this position. What am I doing? Like, probably I need to develop one of the bishops. Maybe, let's say bishop c4, bishop... Let's go bishop d3. Just very solid. Everything will be defended. I just castle, and we can assume that I got some like position that I have no idea what I need to do. I don't like my queen on e3. Oh, actually maybe... now I remember. b3 was the move. b3, bishop b2, castling long. Okay. Let's do the same here, even though this is like now a different story, but basically I develop my pieces. The idea is bishop b2, rook d1, rook e1, and then I will think what to do next. So the opening for me is not important. Well, usually with black I play what I know, while with white I try to just to play what I don't really know, so showing you that even if you don't know much, you can still live in chess. You can Mr. Nider, thank you. And let's play bishop b2, very logical move. So move 12, I have almost completed my development, which is very good. I have 2 more rooks to develop. I don't play with you guys. I mean, this is not playing with subscribers. This is an open challenge. If you catch my my challenge, you are free to play. Let's say if your rating is higher than like maybe 2400 and rapid on Lichess, then why not? Knight b4, so obviously I don't want to give up my light square bishop. Still, I can play rook d1, knight d3, rook d3, and going for initiative, because, like you see, especially this bishop cannot be developed to d7, so maybe it's actually not a bad idea. But the easiest move, of course, is bishop e4, simply attacking the queen, and that's it. Then maybe later playing a3. But let's go for a more interesting move, rook d1. So if knight d3, I take with my rook. And I will be playing against black's development. So obviously one of the ideas for black may be b6. But for now, it's not a problem for me at all. And I think the most natural move for me is just rook d1. completing my development. I don't even check some, let's say, more forcing options. I don't really need them because I'm already doing well. And it's interesting what my opponent is going to do because he needs to develop his bishop. Actually, f6 is not a bad idea at all. Very reasonable move. Very logical move by my opponent. The idea may be e5 and then developing the bishop. So I'm developed. What do I do next? Of course, I can make some like waiting move like h3, a useful move, but e5 is coming, so I don't really like that. Well, maybe it was an optimistic idea to give up the bishop here. I told you that, let's say, it was not so... It wasn't really great, let's say. But I decided to go there anyway because I thought it would be interesting. And it is interesting, but not as much as I thought it would be. e5 is a very good idea by black. What do I do about that? I have no idea, actually. I mean, I have some ideas, but they don't really work. And e5 is coming anyway. Спасибо. Yeah, for example, one of the ideas is rook d4, e5, rook h4. Rook d4, there is actually bishop c5. Another idea, I thought queen e4, e5, and then, like, for example, given a check on d5. But it's not so clear, like a queen c4 check. But it's not so clear what I get by that check. Actually, I get, I think, nothing by that check. And there is one more idea, which looks weird, like bishop d4. And the point is, actually, I'm not going to tell you the point. I will tell you it later. Because who cares? Yeah, who knows if the guy is listening? Yeah, one of the point was not really to take the pawn, but to play bishop c5, exchanging the bishop pair. So if I don't have the initiative, at least I would be happy to exchange the opponent's bishop pair. But he doesn't allow me to do that. So here queen e4 looks very tempting. What else to do, actually? And then maybe getting in with queen c6 is an idea. Actually, what my opponent wants, e5, 5 may be a move. Like g4 is too optimistic for me. Can I play something like maybe bishop e3? Like, overall doesn't look like, you know, this is when you did something wrong in general. Then you have to come up with some weird moves that you wouldn't play in a normal life. Okay, bishop c3. I found an idea. You can guess what my idea is. The bishop b7 is not an option because of queen e6. So the most natural move for black is e5. And I'm kind of ready for e5. Hello, hello. If I don't blunder anything, then most likely the position is just equal. And my idea was to meet e5 with bishop b4, exchanging the dark squared bishops. I mean, eliminating the bishop pair. Queen f7 is kind of an interesting idea on one hand. On the other hand, it gives me some options, probably. Like, for example, actually, I did a very smart thing. I didn't even notice that. But by playing bishop c3, I got a square for my knight. And knight d4. Maybe not the best move, but definitely looks quite nice. Yeah, so now my opponent cannot even play bishop b7 because of queen e6, while e5 I will play knight c6. I also thought about something like queen a4, but then maybe bishop b7 is not so clear because of that knight on f3. Okay, he played e5. Now, knight c6 is interesting, knight f5 is interesting. Which one? It is actually a good question because both moves look reasonable. Let's go for knight c6. Let's go for my initial plan. But knight e5 was also very interesting. And in this game, you may see how actually sometimes pressing works. It's not like I have a plan for like 5-6 moves. It is like one small step, move by move. Here my plan was to play rook d7. A rook d7, maybe actually bishop c6, queen c6, then something like rook c8 is not so clear. I mean, I have rook c7 there, rook c7, queen c7. Maybe it is not bad for me. Okay, let's go for rook d7. Anyway, it was my plan to go for that move. Queen e6 is a funny move, but I don't think it is a good move. I think I'm winning. Can you find, guys, how I am winning. But I'm not sure. This is what I think. But maybe I'm not winning. Yes, and it is not so, like, it is not absolutely clear. Yeah, so of course, rook e7, he can just, let's say, go for bishop c6. That is fine for him. So I don't actually have choice. Oh my god. No way. I just found some. Oh, this one I'm kind of very confident about that I am winning. Yeah, initially I thought knight e7, queen e7, queen g4. And I think I'm winning there. Most likely. But now I found queen d5. Which is a very nice tactical trick. It's queen d5, knight e7, and I take on d5. If I don't blunder anything. Well, the queen is hanging, king f7 doesn't help. Queen d5, there is knight e7, and knight d5. Winning a piece. The rook is trapped. Okay, I'm not going to analyze the game because otherwise I wouldn't find next opponent. So let's continue to play against this guy, and I'm going to play c5, knight f6. This is already something I know. Something I know and something where I beat many strong grandmasters. So that's why there is not much to comment on in the opening stage, but once there will be something, I will tell you. This is Rakhmanov Sicilian. Oh, yeah. This one I can play blindfold. Or it's time to develop pieces and it's time to say a few words. The idea is quite simple. Basically, we just I'm like one of my ideas is to play queen c7 followed by bishop d6. If that doesn't work, then bishop e7 and castle short. Still queen c7. Maybe put in the rooks in the center, and then we play. What is important at the moment is that my pawn structure is better than the opponent's pawn structure. Let's just castle. Well, I played it, especially in Rapid Blitz. I played against rook b8 or rook a7. Rook a7, b8, 7, b8. Let's go to a7. In classical chess, I played it against grandmasters. But at some point I almost stopped playing it against grandmasters because in classical chess, because they started to prepare against me. And my point of playing rook a7 was possibility to play queen c7 or maybe queen b8, by the way. Both moves look reasonable. Let's go for queen c7. So black's pawn structure is better because white white doesn't have a pawn in the center, and I have one pawn that controls one of the central squares on the opponent's territory. Now let's go for rook d8, maybe controlling the d4 square, and maybe a bit later I will tell you something important about this position. For now, I don't want to do that because, like, maybe I don't know, maybe the opponent is here, so it could be it could help him. Because he can still do something I don't really like, let's say. But it's almost over, so I'll tell you it after this move. Yeah, the guy is going for the wrong target. I mean, the point is that he needed, at some point from the very beginning, he needed to play d4, and he had a chance to do that. He could have done that after a4, like for example d4 here, fighting for the center, or playing a rook d1 and then d4. But he didn't do that. And now I'm going for some maneuvers to control d4. So knight c6, and overall just having my rooks on the d file. And he could have played it multiple times, like for example here, rook d1. Actually, rook d1 is the easiest move in this position for white. So, like, what else? The rook on a1, yeah, the pawn is on a4, so the rook has some job on the a file. But now he should obviously take. And thanks to the pawn structure, I'm slightly better here. Maybe the engine wouldn't say that, but I'm slightly better. Not much better, just as I said, slightly better. If my knight were on d4, I would be already, like, I would have quite a pleasant position. Maybe, by the way, I didn't need to go for actually f5, e7, g8, or d6 f5, yeah? But d6 f5, he could have played g4. So maybe I had another route for, like, to get my knight on d4. And I mean, of course, the position is quite close to be equal. Maybe it is equal. And but let's say we play. For now, just play rook d4, controlling something around. Like, now let's play. Probably like h5 wouldn't be a bad idea, I think. And so now I can go for knight g4, knight h6, knight f5, and getting my knight to d4. On my opponent's place, I would basically do the same. I would put the knight on... Probably the guy got my point and he's going for that square. Okay, it's not a big deal. So he's gonna put his knight on f3, yes, good job. I will go for knight d4, and now I get my pawn on d4, and his pawn on c2 will be weak. Oh, so smart. So smart. Okay. Not a pleasant surprise, but okay, if you are smart, good for you, boy. Yeah, the problem is that if I try to break through on the queen side, his rook gets access to the a file, to the 7th rank. So I can, like, for example, I can maybe take on f3 and then go for e5. He could play a rook e1 there, so he will be fine. Yeah, so basically white is doing okay here, of course. And the question is, how do I create some like maybe possibilities to win this position? Maybe, of course, at the very early stage of this endgame, maybe I didn't need to exchange his bishop helping him. Maybe at some point g5 was an interesting idea, grabbing more space on the queen side. Well, now, yeah. Now what? Maybe, do I have knight f3, king f3, c4? c4, bc4, rook c4. But he can ignore that. He can even take on c4, rook d2, rook b1, just then exchanging everything. Oh, let's just give him a move to play. Below 1600, I would recommend just to play something solid, not not learning the opening theory, but more like learning the ideas, the principles, playing one e4 with white, choosing one go for this one, and he can go for that one anyway. Looks like the guy can survive. Not a friendly person, you know? This guy is not a friendly person. He wants to survive. Can you imagine that? So mean by this guy. It also depends in if you have, let's say, what your budget is. If you have money for example, for some chessable courses, or like for any books, or like whatever like that. Yeah, the guy has no problems, unfortunately. But still, there are some ideas, there are some options to play for a win for me here. So let's do my best. Creating a passed pawn on the king side. The pawn endgame is quite interesting. And the problem of the pawn endgames is that you cannot really like they're unpredictable. If you think you're winning, you may easily be losing. That's the problem with the pawn endgames. No, rook e2, like it's like basically it would be the same position as I have it now on the board. And I'm not sure at all if I can go for takes, let's say king g6, king goes to f3, king f5. And what is that position? I have no idea. Like c3 maybe, like king e5 probably, maybe king e3. It can easily be lost for me. Can be winning, can be lost, can be draw. Can be any one of them, of that. Like pawn endgames is like never go for pawn endgames. I would, like, if you want one recommendation from me, never go for pawn endgames unless you're a pawn up, for example. It can look winning for you, but eventually, like, this one is already a better version. Yes, his king will be one move away, but still, like, what does it give me? Is it winning or not? Is it a loss for me? I have no idea, honestly saying. Let's go for rook e5. Let's play with the guy a little bit, waiting for a move from him. And maybe after this game, I will pause and I will check the first game and the second game. And the pawn endgame is very interesting, but can be, like, easily can be anything. And maybe eventually I will have to go for the pawn endgame, but I want to make it on my term. Maybe if I play rook c1, maybe he's gonna go for king a4. Ah, he can't even go for rook e6, just starting to exchange the pawn. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Have no idea what it will be, but let's go. Okay. It left me no choice to play for a win only with going to that pawn endgame. I hope it is not I hope it is not lost for me. It can easily be like that. I saw that, honestly saying. And now white is winning. He has a winning move. But it is not the winning move. d5 was winning for him. This one may be winning as well. Maybe it's winning for me. This is crazy. Oh, this is so funny. Let's let's check it. So was, yes, like just as I told you, a slightly better position for black. But my opponent did well. I mean, like, okay, it's not surprising he did well. I was trying to do something. And you see, just like I felt that it can be even dangerous for me. Oh, here it was. No, nothing. Yeah, so it's just draw, but can easily be misplayed. And I saw that g4 idea, but since I wanted to play for a win, I thought that, okay, actually, if he played whatever, it wouldn't be winning for me. I thought, for example, here I would go for b4, c4, c4, king e3, and then I could somehow, like, advance. Yeah, good job by the guy finding this idea. And then d5 would simply kill me. Here, the only move. I told you. Because the idea is very simple. By playing d5, now if I play king f7, he can simply take on b4, and that's it. He has these pens. While if I take on d5, then after cb4, I'm no longer in the square of the pawn after cb4. While if he doesn't do that, let's say if he plays cb4, then I take on d4, and then his king is not in the square of one of the pawns. If he plays dc5, then he's not in square of these two pawns. So basically, it is the same idea for white and for black. And after h6, okay, king f7 I found. h6, okay. And here he could have just played h8, c6, and then we would promote, and it will be some queen endgame, like very drawish queen endgame, but he panicked. Fortunately for me, he panicked, and I won the game. Okay, good. Let's see the first game. Oh, let's see the first game. Well, the first game, actually the first game, the guy was also doing well till some moment. Yeah, so here, of course, bishop e4. Of course, like, it was, like, obvious to play bishop e4. I went for the initiative, but eventually there was, I should have played knight e5 right away. f6. And knight d7, I didn't see that square. Surprisingly here, after f6, my pieces are restricted and I cannot do much. So bishop d4 I found at least the best option. And there are two ideas behind this. Of course, like maybe bishop a7, but that was not the main point. The main point was bishop c5, changing the bishop pair, and so solving my potential problems. Here, queen e4 is an obvious move. Oh, bishop c3, like, oh, somebody is strong today. I mean, I am strong today. Bishop c3, nice job. Once again, the idea is to play bishop b4 at some point. So for example, e5, bishop b4, like the only move, like you see, changing the bishop pair, so eliminating the bishop pair from the opponent. Queen f7, knight e4, a good job. Knight c6, a good job. Rook d7. And queen d5. Like knight d7 is even easier. Knight d7 and queen g4 probably. Oh, queen c4, The funny thing is that in some lines I saw that move. I saw that move in some lines, but there somehow queen e6 or queen f7 were possible. But queen g4 is winning easily as well. But I'm happy that I found queen d5, because queen d5 is, let's say, a less obvious option, or something hidden. Knight e7 is obviously, I even told you that knight e7, queen g4 is probably winning for me, and the rest is not important. So how much of rapid rating I still need to... Yeah, here, like, my rating deviation is 102, and I need to make it lower than 75 to get listed on the top players board. Let's challenge somebody. If your rating is higher than 2400 in rapid, then you're welcome to challenge me on Lichess. Okay, let's go. Maybe it is one of you. So let's go e4. Yeah, so speaking of openings, e4 with white, just something solid. Yeah, so yeah, what I should I play d4 once again? Let's go for d4. I don't know, maybe I can, let's play knight d4. I don't know anything here, but let's go. And just in case, let's play bishop d3. I don't want knight c3. I don't want my knight being pinned. Let's take. The only thing here not to blunder is e5, then queen a5. I mean, of course, I don't know any theoretical line here, but I know some general ideas like e5, queen a5. And here, let's just take, let's make it simple, even though maybe it is not the best move, but then I want to play c4 and I want to tear apart my opponent's pawn structure. Also, I'm not sure if it is a good idea. I mean, this is already a good idea. I'm not sure if ed5 was a good idea. It was possible just to play knight c3 or queen e2, something, or knight d2. But let's go for c4. Yeah, so the question, if you have some, let's say you have some budget for training, or you don't, because if you have, let's say, some budget, then you can purchase one chessable course for white, or maybe two chessable courses for white, because they usually go like e4 part 1, e4 part 2, then one opening for black against one e4, and one opening for black against one d4. What could it be? Like, okay, here probably makes sense. Probably makes sense to go for cd5, knight d5. Then maybe knight c3 is even an option, just like, you know, going for the initiative. But as you remember, previous time I went for the initiative, it didn't go so well for me. Let's say I can play knight c3 actually, dc4, there is queen a4 check, bishop d7, queen takes c4. This is an option. I like the idea of playing maybe cd5. And then after knight d5, I will go for queen g4. Kind of. Does it make sense to play queen a4, bishop d7, queen g4? Probably not. Let's go for queen g4. A strong queen move. If any of you have my chessable course, then you know what it is. And by the way, if somebody, like, maybe later would like to have it, I will give you a link. But the only thing is purchase it later when it will be on sale, of course. Does he want to castle long, or that would be insane? Rook e1 is an interesting move, kind of saying hello to the pawn on e6. Bishop g5 is interesting in terms of getting ready for his long castle. The only disadvantage of bishop g5 is that it allows black to play bishop d6, because I will no longer attack the pawn on g7. I can also develop the knight. Maybe now actually I can play knight c3. Looks interesting as well. My problem always having too many ideas, too many options. And unfortunately, I can't play them all. Maybe knight a3 is even not a bad idea, because if he plays bishop a3, I may have queen g7, or I can even take. Let's go for knight a3, such a funny move, while knight b5 is an idea, and I would play knight c3, but I don't want to to close, to block the C file. And I didn't want to put the knight on d2. Maybe, by the way, also was a good idea, but I didn't want to block the bishop if, like, maybe I will need that move. For example, if he castles long, I have bishop g5 attacking the rook and rook c1, winning the game. So I'm very happy with my position. Looks quite promising. Yeah, hello. Thank you. I'm fine. Oh, hi, Mega. How are you doing? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so instead of what he did, I wouldn't play queen c7 for black. I would definitely play, or at least consider, bishop e7 and castling short. So castling short as soon as possible, of course, not wasting time for queen c7. And it's not clear if c7 is the best square for the queen. And so basically in my third course, I explained that, yeah, here in position like this, I would think about playing rook e1, maybe rook d1, bishop g5, and knight somewhere, knight a3, knight d2. And yeah, the real difficulty is to choose, to pick one of them. Because they're all so good, yeah, like each of them is such a nice guy. This rook on f1 going here, the bishop going there, the knight going somewhere. But later we will check the game and think what... I'm also not so sure what I'm going to do after bishop a3. There are two interesting ideas. Actually, three interesting ideas. There is queen a4, which I didn't see previously. Queen a4, then for example bishop c6, and I take on a3 with my queen. Oh, that would be funny, you know, if I had my bishop on g5, and there was something knight on d7, then after h5 there would be, you know, a typical sacrifice, queen e6, and then bishop g6 checkmate. Here it is not the case, so let's look for a square for my queen. Queen a4 check is not a bad idea, bishop c6, and then maybe... bishop b5, then he can take. If I go for knight b5, queen goes to d7. Unfortunately, his queen on d7 is well placed and c7 is protected. But what if I continue one move ahead? Rook d1. Rook d1. If a6, I would win the game after rook d5, e d5, knight c7 check. But there is rook b8. If I go for rook d5, e d5, knight c7, king d8, not so... yeah, of course, like, since he has played h5, that means he's not gonna castle short in the nearest future. So I can just play queen h3, for example, and waiting for his next move, which is not a bad idea. Queen g5 may be not a bad idea as well. Queen h4 is not a terrible idea. Yeah, I don't like positions when, like, I have all my ideas are good. What about bishop e4? But my queen is hanging. Yeah, so I need to save the queen first. I can even give a check first, like bishop b5, bishop c6, and then moving my queen somewhere else, which is not a bad idea as well. So what is the best square for the queen? Let's make a choice. Let's make a decision. Choice. Maybe he's gonna take on a3 at some point. Like, also not a problem for me. Let's go to h3. Shouldn't be bad. I mean, cannot be bad. No, queen d1 going backwards for like why? Even though it would keep options of going both directions, but why? To block my back rank? Any square like g5, h4, h3 would be better. More active, yeah. Staying more active. And the guy struggles. This is clear. Yeah, the guy is struggling. He doesn't know what to do. While for me, it's quite obvious. I have a lot of good ideas. Rook e1 is one of them. Looking at e6, maybe sacrificing the rook. Knight b5, bishop b5, bishop g5, followed by rook c1, rook d1. Okay, he covered b5. So do I go for rook e1? Maybe bishop b4 attacking the rook wouldn't be so pleasant. Maybe not a big deal. But I mean, rook e6 would be too optimistic. I don't have too many pieces to assist at the moment. Bishop g5 looks reasonable. Maybe queen e5 there is a small issue. Maybe it makes sense to play... No, knight c4, maybe knight b4. Sure about that one. Maybe bishop d2 is not a terrible idea and like playing rook c1 next move. Oh, by the way, maybe he wants to play knight f4 because he defended b5. Yeah, let's play rook e1 then. The problem for the guy is that he doesn't know what to do with his king. Yeah, bishop b4 was expected. Rook e6 is like should be checked, but looks too optimistic. So either rook e4 or rook e2. There are two squares, two options. Rook e4 makes some sense, but yeah, looks a bit under that bishop. Looks a bit risky. On the other hand, I keep an eye on his bishop, which is good for me. So what do I do? Oh, what he's gonna do? Like, this is a good question. What he's gonna do? Let's play rook e4, even though I'm a little bit skeptical about that move. I don't like when my pieces are placed on unstable squares. Rook e2, I thought he would play knight f4, bishop f4, queen f4, and maybe there he could try to survive. Maybe even actually starting with bishop a3, ba3, then knight f4, bishop f4, queen f4. And that position, at some point, queen g4, exchanging the queens. So that's why I played rook e4 to control the fourth rank. And I triple check everything related to that knight. If there are any dangerous jumps for me. I didn't see anything, but maybe I blunder something. that can be the case. And actually, now I see something. I'm not okay. No, everything is fine. Yeah, everything is fine. I thought for a second I thought I blundered this queen c3, rook b1, and knight b4. Because in advance I thought I would take rook b4, but then queen e1. Actually, even there's bishop f1, so not a problem. While after knight b4, there is also bishop b5, discovery check. Я думаю, вы можете примерно видеть, насколько я ходов вперед считаю, да? То есть вот примерно то, что я говорю, это и примерно есть то, что я считаю. Ну, по-разному, где-то может быть и на один ход, где-то на 2, 3, 4 хода, насколько позволяет позиция. Ну и, конечно, есть какая-то неопределенность. Okay, so now my rook is sort of in trouble. But I have rook c4, a funny move, which is not a bad idea at all, I think. I have knight c4, obviously a candidate. Obviously a very tempting move. Let's say knight c4. Of course, I wish to sacrifice on e6 at some point, but maybe not here. Maybe it would be too optimistic. Maybe bishop g5 is finally not a bad idea. Knight f4, however, yeah, knight f4. Knight f4, actually, I have bishop f4, so not a big deal. The safest move for me is rook c4, then queen e7. Safest at the same time a chicken move. Yeah, I don't want to make a chicken move. No, maybe I want. Maybe I want to make a chicken move. Maybe I want to make a chicken soup. Knight c4. Knight c4 looks like cannot be bad. Rook c4 looks good only in terms of attacking the queen, but otherwise rook c4, queen e7, and his pieces are well placed. My pieces are somehow misplaced. So this construction has more harmony, I would say. At the same time, this construction may blunder something. Okay, so 51 seconds left. Now we're gonna play fast. Just fast, not really, not thinking too much. Bishop f4 is a good idea, probably. And followed by knight f4. I have rook e6, but there is a safe move, rook e1. What do I do? Play rook e1. Okay, it's time warning. Maybe now I blunder something little bit, maybe not little bit. I have no time. Shit. 16 seconds, insane. Whew. I put headphones because without sounds, I have sounds only in headphone, not in like this. And when having no time, it's like sound very help in terms of seeing the opponent's move, that somehow getting a feeling that the move was played. So obviously, I was winning somewhere. So like I no, there is nothing dirty in winning like this, because I think obviously it was some pressure by me. I was the one who played for a win. Yeah, CD5 is good. Queen G4 is okay. Knight C3, I thought about it. Knight A3 is fine. The funny thing is that it's white is just slightly better. Surprisingly. Yeah, like probably because black's pieces are well placed, but actually it doesn't feel this way. I don't know, there probably was some disconnection. Sure about that. But okay. Yeah, but still surprising. Like I thought I have a like I thought I was at least better, but like nothing, not clear to me. And Rook E4, I'm just like, yeah, I told you that Rook E2 I didn't like because of Knight F4. Knight C4 is the best move. Yeah, here Bishop F1 would be really nice. Rook E1 is also okay. Bishop F1 is the best move, protecting everything around. And here just Bishop F4 first and then Queen A3. But okay, I had 16 seconds here, so obviously I had simply no time. I just blundered the pawn on H2, but my idea was actually right. I just take here first, Queen A3, and just a very good position for white. Black's king is still in the center. Well, this one we can, like, there is not much to say about this one. It was just about flagging and not getting flagged. But still was surprising for me that I had almost no advantage. Like, was unexpected, let's say. Okay, let's play a few more games for today. Let's see if there will be somebody to play a few more games in Rapid. But at least, how many I played? I played 3 games, I think. Yeah, 3 games, 2 with one opponent, analyzing them, and one more game. One more game. Or does it help me to get closer to 101 still? 101, I mean. And I need to drop it to 75 to be visible on the on this board. I'm actually have 2888 now, 2888, so I would be here instead of Rapid. I will be there. Obviously, you should understand that I'm like explaining too much, and let's say if it was my game, like a real game, Blitz or Rapid, I would play faster. But this is basically what I'm explaining is kind of some version of thinking process happening in my mind. Just the problem is that finding somebody 10 plus 5 is even more difficult. So 10 plus or at least something. But okay, let's wait 2 more minutes. Now it's 9:53 p.m. here. And if there will be nobody, I'm going to play some Blitz games. Maybe I should have continued with that guy, but I wanted to look at the game. Can I go back to the game and oh no. It's too late to rematch. Where's everybody? Some reason nobody wants to play against a grandmaster, getting some experience. Or okay, the guy is back. Funny. Okay. Okay, he's back. Let's go. I will play something more solid, or something like maybe some of you playing. Let's play e6. Maybe not necessarily somebody of you playing, but let's just do something solid. Knight f6. Catalan, let's go for dc4. Now a6. Against Catalan, there are different systems. Let's go for c5 here. Obviously, winning a game with black is more difficult, so there are two options, two ways of playing. You can either go for something solid and then like slowly outplay your opponent, maybe equalizing first. And then there is second way, which I usually do. I play knight f6, c4, d6, d6, going for some side line and just knowing more there and winning the opponent in this way. Somehow the guy is surprised with the c5. So the difference between playing white and black is that With white, you can just do whatever. You can develop your pieces. It's enough to develop your pieces and put some pressure on the opponent, and it will be good enough. That's it. And that's enough to win the game. With black, you need to equalize first or jump over equality somehow, by either by tricking your opponent or just because your opponent made a mistake himself. Now I just develop, like just do some normal moves, not wasting my time for no reason. Like my plan is to castle, maybe knight d7, knight c6 at some point. Like I would be happy to play b5 if that would be possible. So with white, we can also do something like trying to jump over slight equality. And this is what is my opponent maybe trying to do now. He doesn't know about that probably. But going for, let's say, more active, more aggressive play. But sometimes it's not a good idea. So my choice is obvious here. I can castle, I can play c3. C3, like maybe it's a good idea. I don't see anything wrong about that. This is an attempt to temporarily save the pawn. Like anyway, he's gonna take it, but maybe doing that a bit later. Or I can simply play, let's say, h6, forcing him to take on f6, knight c4, then castle short. I'm a pawn up. Like I'm doing well. Why not? By the way, maybe bishop f6, gf6 is not a terrible idea, and then playing e5. But I would prefer to keep my king. Do I prefer, however? Do I need to keep my king safe? gf6, knight c4, e5. Less balanced position. Let's go for bishop f6. Okay, but maybe gf6 was even better. I wouldn't be surprised. But basically, if you're, let's say, if you are 1600. I expected it to be the other knight, but okay, who cares? I don't care. I just castle. So if you are under, let's say, if you have FIDE rating and you are under 1600, 1700, just keep your king safe. Don't go for an extra pawn. Keep your king safe. That would be better. Knight d7 or knight c6? That is the question. Let's go for knight d7. Maybe my opponent will eventually take that pawn, or like somehow, yeah, doing something active, winning another pawn. I don't care. I don't care about that. I'm fine. I don't need much. One pawn is enough for me, being one pawn up. And now I can play knight c5, exchanging that knight, for example. Knight c5, queen b6 may be a small problem. But doesn't look like a big problem, however. Another option is e5, defending the pawn on d4. b5 is interesting, let's say. Risky, very risky, with the bishop being on g2. So b5, let's say knight d6. And like there are some potential problems for me there, but maybe not a bad idea. I can play e5, just defending the pawn. I can play knight c5. I can play b5. Probably, like mainly that's it. I don't want to move my knight to f6 because of knight b6. b5 is interesting, maybe too optimistic. maybe not that bad. Maybe some mix of b5 and e5 is interesting. Playing one of them first and then going with the other one. Let's keep the pawn for now. Yeah, e3 is like the idea is obvious. The point is obvious. I can still go for... Oh, no, not knight c5. I cannot go anymore because of the pawn on e5. So let's go for a more aggressive move. Let's go for b5. Yeah, of course, here I needed to calculate something, and I calculated something. However, I'm not so sure about this idea actually now. I'm not so sure about it anymore. Yeah, I don't like it. Because I had a plan, but now I see that it doesn't work that well, my plan. And I'm a little bit not in time to do what I would like to do. Yeah. E5 was like, I saw the line, I saw a simple line. Let's say knight c5, queen b6, knight e4, bishop e4, bishop f6, queen d8, rook d8, knight b6, rook b8, rook c1, bishop d7, maybe rook c7. I go somewhere with my bishop, maybe even bishop c6. I have no single problem. And guess what? Now I have some problems. This is the point when you play against a lower rated opponent. Like, just do it in a normal way. Do it like you would play against somebody at your level. Don't try to beat them in a cheap way. Don't try to don't go for unnecessary complications. You wouldn't go against a strong player. I'm going for activity, sacrifice, and the exchange. If you mean instead of b5, it's already like too late, I think. I mean, overall, I should have played just knight c5. I would be fine, absolutely fine. Or here, I shouldn't, like, I didn't need to move my bishop away. Yeah, maybe rook b8 here with the idea of b5. So obviously, I had some pleasant options. But I did some stupid things. Unnecessary stupid things, let's say. In my run for a win, I made some unnecessary stupid things, let's say. Yeah, this move, by the way, I blundered, but fortunately I have a trick here which I think helps me to survive at least. At least not to lose the game. I have bishop g4 attacking his rook on d1. And maybe I blunder something here. Maybe he has some nice resource and I'm just lost. I wouldn't be surprised. But looks like should be okay for me. Of course, he could have simply taken the rook, then bishop c5, then maybe something like bishop f3, and play in that position with compensation for black. Maybe now there will be just some exchanges and it will be a drawish position with queens and rook. With queens and rooks. Bum 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 bum. Where's the move? Okay, we have a move. Yeah, and this is one of the ways, this is what I actually meant by some exchanges and then just like having no resources to play for a win. Okay, what if I take knight d8, bishop b3, bishop a8? That one should be fine for me, so I can make take, I think. He takes, and then the problem is that eventually my rook on a8 will be hanging, so it leads to a drawish position, which of course I'm going to try to play for a win. But okay, first of all, where does my queen go? Yeah, probably there is no difference. Probably there is no difference. I would have to do something anyway. Let's go queen e7. Looks more natural to me. I should take here. I should take on a8. I should take on e5. And this is exactly what I meant by saying that it would probably lead to some position with queens and rooks. This is the line I calculated at that moment. The position is quite drawish, of course, unfortunately. No, it's not. It is not worse for me, of course. But the problem is it is quite drawish. Yeah, so I will have to speed up and maybe eventually flag the guy if there will be still some resources to play. Because maybe he will just go for now. Maybe he will now go for some exchanges and that's it. Maybe he will find a way to do that. And the way to do that is actually quite simple. No, this is not the way. Okay, he wants to trick me like a little boy. Funny. Okay, I can play g6, I think. Ah, shit. What a poor boy, this guy. If I play g6, he wants to play a rook d6, having in mind rook g6 idea. Tricky guy, what can I say? What if I play a rook d6 in advance? Protecting everything around and avoiding rook d6. Of course, allowing him to play a rook d8. But that rook endgame, okay, I'm fine with. I can flag that one. Shit. One more pawn endgame. No pawn endgame. Okay, let's go back. I don't want. I would like a pawn endgame. And this is how we do it. Yeah, well, of course, the guy, let's say he deserved draw, but I was mean. Yeah, just like playing natural knight c6, but knight d7 is okay. But here, yeah, not wasting my time, just playing rook b8. And here, final moment, e5. Yeah, e5 just very bad, like weakening a lot of squares in my camp. Actually, b5 would work. Knight c5 would be okay. Knight c5, I didn't like this line. Yeah, I told you. Bishop f6, queen d8, rook d8, knight b6, rook b8, c1, bishop d7. Yeah, rook c7, I thought I would have something. Yeah, knight d7. Well, like, okay, like maybe more like a drawish position, of course. Then here, rook a7 was an option. What I did was okay. The exchange sacrifice. Yeah, I would play this position. What to do? This is live. E4 is very smart because e4, bishop d4. The bishop is nicely placed on d4. Okay. Yeah, the guy obviously deserved draw, but this is life. Okay, I think I'm not going to play rapid games anymore today, but let's play some blitz games and let's say after party, or if you would like to see some blitz games, so or more action. Still, I will be explaining something a little bit. If there will be somebody to play with, of course. Guy. 2 years ago. Okay, let's go. So basically just develop first of all. That bishop is not a piece. I mean, that bishop is only a piece of shit, so we are happy to exchange it. Waiting for the guy to play e4. Staying very solid, having a solid pawn structure. Now let's go rook e7, rook d7. And then the knight will go to e8, to d6, to f5, attacking the pawn on d4. Maybe not necessarily I will play yes all that. Let's go for a5, grabbing some space on the queen side. a4 not yet, queen b6, then maybe a4. Rook d8 is an idea, knight e8, knight d6 is an idea. Maybe a5 was not really necessary. d5 shouldn't work. I can take. I mean, he can probably go for d5, taking on f6, and just trying to make a draw. I'm already 40 seconds ahead of him, which is good. Yeah, so the guy went for draw, but there will be no draw. I have c5, and I will play bishop d4. Actually, yeah, of course, white is doing just fine here. No problems for the guy. h4, I'm not sure how necessary was it. Like, maybe I can use it against the guy at some point. Rook e8, of course. Controlling, like, why not rook e1? I don't know. I have no idea why the guy didn't play it. Rook e1, controlling the only open file. Now I expect him to play a4 because maybe otherwise I would go for b5 myself. Ag6, of course. Keeping an eye on h6 or a5. Double threat. Nice work by you, boy. But okay, I don't care about that pawn. I will go for rook h8 myself. Okay, let's go for this one. Now he can take the pawn. Right, okay, what is it? Pawn is a pawn, just a pawn. King g7. Maybe this one trick would work at some point for me. And I wouldn't be happy if he plays queen f4, exchanging the queens, being a chicken. Being a chicken. Guy decided to be a chicken. What can I say? This is how we do it. Oi, oi, oi. Oi, oi. one I blundered. Okay. Chicken. Chicken soup, please. Oh, not a chicken. Okay. Good for me. Oh, yeah. I thought he would play another move. Shit. Oh, what a lucky bitch. Stalemate. No, like, I thought he would play d7 and I wanted to take on f2 and then move my bishop away. And like, what is this lucky guy? This is a system I usually play with black to beat stronger guys, the same level guys. Makes sense. f5, but there is bishop c6, so I need to prepare for that a little bit. Then I will go for f5. I don't stream too much, like I used to stream more like several years ago. Like last year I almost didn't stream, and now I'm slowly returning. Nowadays I only stream Title Tuesday. And like maybe I like have this slot on Saturday, or this like approximately this time, something like that. Hiding down his bishop because otherwise I couldn't develop my knight. Now I can develop my knight. The knight probably goes to e5. Maybe d5 is not a bad idea for me. My pawn later will be hanging. Something to think about. We'll go queen b7, maybe bishop e5. I will protect it. Start with knight c5 now. A complex position, actually, yeah, of course, a better position for white because my king is worse. Yeah, so if he will be able to create something on the queen side, it will be very good for him. No, this was not a good idea. I just said that your king was safer, boy, and you immediately weaken it. So the position is very complex. Like maybe b4 is coming, of course. Maybe can I play knight e4 at some point? How about queen f7, getting the queen closer, attacking the pawn on c4? Now bishop c3 may be very decent move for him. He finds it. Shit. Yeah, maybe I should have played something else then. Okay, let's go for knight e6. Rook d6 is an interesting sacrifice. What is this guy doing? Like, he's like a robot. Oh, I blundered that one. I didn't really want to give it up. But okay, my hope is his bishop on g2, which is terrible as a piece of shit. Okay, what now? Should I take? Back rank checkmate is an idea, but shouldn't blunder some like 7th rank problems myself. This one I don't care. For this, rook d1 is my idea. So let's go for that one. Should I exchange or I play this one first? Go for this one. Time. Exchanging the queens or shit. Smart guy. I shouldn't allow him queen e7. Like, okay, 25 seconds. The only issue for me. Like, the guy played well from time to time. And actually, maybe, let's say, watching Blitz games is even, let's say, maybe something that has less explanation and there is less time to think is even more instructive, let's say. You know what? Because when I have more time, I explain it like, yeah, here, like this, like this. Now I play by what I think the right is. So, I mean, I just develop my pieces and I'm waiting for e4. This is the second time we see something similar. Waiting for the guy to play e4. Okay, he went the other direction. Understandable. We don't judge him. Let's play b5. Let's play b5. I don't think I should change the title because I was playing Instructive Rapid. And now this is just the end of the stream. However, maybe it will take a bit more time to finish the stream. Yeah, this guy is already annoying. I don't like him. Can I play knight c4? I play knight b6 maybe. Hopefully I will have some compensation after knight c4 or knight d4 or knight bc4. Don't know which one. Let's go for this one. Obviously rook a7. I have queen e8 attacking the knight. Queen e8, maybe there is knight c7, queen d8, knight a6. Maybe actually I can leave that knight on b5. It's not. Maybe I will even go for some activity, like maybe some tricks. I don't know. Captures here, there. Yeah, but nothing in reality. In reality, it is just nothing. Knight b2. b2 maybe followed by e5. Maybe e5 right away. Let's start with e2, e5. He actually cannot take on e5 because bishop e5, because of bishop e5. If he doesn't take, then I go for a taken on d4. Maybe I can even now take on d4. Knight b8 I take there. Looks quite interesting. I don't calculate. I have no time, but looks promising. Let's go for that one. The rook is still hanging. I have to do something about that. Let's keep having fun. I don't know if it works or not, but I'm attacking the pawn on d4. Of course, he can simply play rook d1. That's a reasonable move. Yeah, now I have to do this. Okay, let's go for some activity. Rook e8. Little bit worse on time, and I'm worse on position. Only hoping for some cheap ideas. Oh, actually I can take, and then rook e1 looks quite reasonable. Then rook b1 attacking the pawns. Yeah, I would prefer to keep the rooks, play for a win. Well, this position is quite drawish. No, I don't really watch football. Have other things to do. Yeah, so this 99 and I need 75. Or with white, you can just develop your pieces and that's it. And you don't need to do anything else. And you can win the game by doing that. Of course, at some point, you need to do some right things. And also maybe ideally playing against somebody somebody weaker than you. Or attacking something. Okay, he easily defended it. Yeah, not a great position from me. Let's go for 95. After knight d4, it will be some symmetrical stuff. Okay, he found rook e8. Good idea by the guy. Oh, can I play queen b3? Take the pawn there. Looks a little bit wrong. Maybe not little bit. Now 94 would lead to a very symmetrical position. Funny. What do I do here to play for something? They having some ideas like 3 king g2, then g4, and going after the king. Don't really like what's going on. Didn't I play a3? a3, then the bishop will be safe on. Okay, I'm fine about this position, perfectly fine. What is this? I'm tired already of going here, going there. Let's do something. Maybe rook e6 somewhere here. Oh, is it time? Bishop d8 is the only move for him, probably. A tough guy, yeah? Here I know nothing. Here I know nothing, so let's just develop pieces. A unique recipe that works for any situation. If you know nothing, just develop your pieces. And it's time to attack the opponent's center. Yeah, he actually was not obliged to do anything, yeah? This is a little bit sad. Maybe I can attack it one more time with e5, forcing him to do something. Cannot play e5 right now, however. Maybe I can. But okay, let's play queen c7 first. Maybe even b6, bishop b7 is not a bad idea. Just developing pieces once again. Okay, let's go for b6. He will play d5 at some point. Smart pitch, can I say? A terrible square for the bishop, but this is temporarily. I hope it is temporary. The queen can go to g5, probably. Maybe knight d7, knight e5 at some point. It would be nice to put my knight on d6. Oh, I was scared. Then I realized I have knight d7. Develop the rook. My queen will go to e5 probably. Yeah, now it goes to f6 because queen e5 he will take my pawn. And now it goes to d6. Actually, maybe it goes nowhere. Knight e5 first makes perfect sense. And once he moves his bishop away, I go queen d6. Rook f8 is something definitely to play. Once knight b6, what a sneaky guy, you know? I have knight d3 idea, so let's play f6 for now. I can take the, yeah, but I better take the pawn, and after that, the guy collapses. e4, then bishop goes to whatever, g8 maybe, even staying safer, and next move knight e5, everything is under control, queen d4 is in move. Being 2 pawns up is very pleasant, of course. And the guy can just resign. Okay, let's go c d4 this time. What I regularly play. I don't like King's Indian. Let me remember what I need to do here. Okay, knight e2, knight goes to g3, queen d2, and playing on the king side. I don't castle short. That's why I like this line. Because I don't like to castle short in the King's Indian and being checkmated. This is not my cup of tea. There are some ideas like bishop g5. If I play knight g4 right now, there is h4, so I start with bishop g5. And if he goes for queen b6 with a cheap idea, I go knight g3. So now the bishop is controlling d3. And now it's a problem for black. Yeah, what he's gonna do about the pawn on h5? He needs to come up with some decision. Or no decision. Yeah, no decision is also decision. Yeah, how do I develop my position? Because taken on h5 is too early. Also, rook g1 can be under that queen, which is not what I like. Probably he's gonna play knight a4. It's not a big deal. Knight a4, I can just take, bishop a4, I have b3. He will move the bishop somewhere else, or bishop e2 is just like, okay, a useful move. Just take it. Good take. Yeah, I thought about this idea previously for him, and looks quite reasonable, let's say. g5 is probably should be my move. Doesn't look great, but what else? Because he can play g5 himself. I have some unprotected things. Maybe my king will go to g2 even. I would definitely castle long, but there is knight a4. Maybe the king goes to f1 and g2, going to some kind of safety. Now I expect him to play f5 or f6. No, he doesn't do that. Okay, I'm in time get into a safe house. Let's play rook c1, overprotecting the knight on c3, obviously. This is like b4 I don't care about. Bullshit. But let's play rook d1, protecting the... I wanted... I forgot I wanted... My plan was to play knight d1. Okay, the knight on b1 is more or less okay. He will be fine. Now we go for queen e3 or queen e1. Which one? Let's go to e3. Knight d2, knight c4 is the idea. He'll probably include b3. I will play a3. Might be smart about bishop h6, but okay. Bishop h6 is a good idea. Maybe I had a way to do something about that. Maybe I didn't have a way. So anyway, like... Take. Do I play queen h6 or knight c4? Queen h6, I wouldn't. Queen h4. Oh, no, I thought I blundered knight d3. Okay, have no time to talk anymore, so let's speed up. A very complex position, of course. Now I don't need headphones. Okay. But a tough opponent. Maybe he's, I would say, maybe he's underrated, or okay, maybe I'm just a bad player, maybe. But the guy is doing okay. Yeah, Rook D1 is a necessary move. So I take back my words about the guy doing okay. But no, of course, he's doing okay. But Rook D1 is absolutely unnecessary move. Maybe he misclicked and he wanted to play Rook C1. But anyway, there, like, it was unnecessary playing Rook D1, Rook C1, whatever. Can make a useful move before castling short. But I need to play faster against this guy because he's playing fast. And he can create some problems when we are down to seconds. It's not a good idea to have no time, I mean, against this guy. My idea is to go for knight b6, knight c4 at some point. Don't mind to take on c5 maybe at some point. No, I don't want to take on c5. I take back my words. Let's go for bishop g4. Like, thinking about taking on f3 at some point, but the main idea is, of course, knight b6, knight c4. Maybe at some point I have takes, rook e3, f. What did I do? Shit. I totally forgot about this idea. He's not good. I mean, like, it's okay, but this is not, like, definitely not what I wanted. I completely missed 95. Shit. At least just take on f3 first and then play knight b6. Now this is painful. Rook e6, I cannot go for that. Oh, f e6, I will be just checkmated probably. Ouch. Maybe, okay, maybe no checkmate. Fortunately for me, probably there is no checkmate. But yeah, this game I have big chances of losing this game. Maybe I had big chances of losing this game. Maybe I had. I have any more? I'm better on time, which is good. I can play rook b8. Okay, I cannot play it anymore. Let's play queen b7. Okay. Go for rook 7, maybe. Controlling the 7th rank. Queen b5, maybe I could have played. Okay, so clear, let's say. Let's go queen d7, queen e8, queen h5, saying hello to the king. Not nice by the guy. Let's go for rook b8, attacking the pawn. Can one more? Now if he plays this, I go for queen g6. Attacking the pawn. Go for h5. Attacking the king. At least a little bit. Probably that's it for my attack. At least for now. Let's go in defense. c3 followed by rook a2. Well, the only thing I need is not to blunder checkmate, and that's it. I win this game. If the guy plays the King's Indian, let's go for this setup at b3, which is a very good setup against the King's Indian players. Hey, even here he knows something. Hope I will be in time to play a3. Okay, I'm in time to play a3. Now knight d2, developing the pieces. This is what we love to do. Or actually, I have more viewers now when playing when playing Blitz. I have more viewers. Let's play knight f3 to d2, so forcing him to take on d2. Because if knight b d2, then knight f6. Here it's an interesting question. Both captures are interesting for me. Let's go for knight d2. Go for knight e4 looks interesting, attacking the pawn on d6. And maybe I can play c5 at some point, like knight d6. Unfortunately, doesn't work. Knight d6, queen d6, d5. There's queen d1, rook d1, and the knight escapes. What if I go for d5? Also nothing. Oh, d5 may be an interesting idea. Let's take on f6 first and then go for d5. c5, I take, then do something. Now let's go for queen d2, rook d1, development. But once he plays rook c8, for example, I probably take on c6 because now he may play c5 and then take in with the rook. Protecting the pawn on c4 and developing the rook. And now the question is if black can play d5 at some point, because if he can, then he will escape. If he has no time to do that, then he faces some problems. Maybe queen d5 is not the best move, but like, why not? Queen b5, next rook d5, attacking these pawns, but first rook d1, developing the rook. Going after my king. Not a nice guy. Not a nice gentleman. Not a gentleman at all. I'm a little bit afraid for the fate of the c4 pawn. Do I have bishop takes e5? But maybe a better question, do I need bishop takes e5? Let's go for queen b6 because he cannot take on c4. Yeah, good question. Where do I go? Like probably g1. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. I'm afraid now, honestly saying. Oh, maybe I have rook takes e5. Do I have it ever? Let's go, but maybe he has rook b8, so maybe yeah, rook e5 is probably a serious mistake. Oh, this one I didn't see as well. But okay, maybe this one we can live with. Unless my king will be checkmated very next move. Not very next move, but very soon. Queen c4 is very unpleasant, actually. Threatening queen c1 checkmate. And this is something I'm very afraid of. Probably I'm just lost, probably. Well, I can still play f4 or f3. That's the question. Which one? f4 or f3? Maybe f3 is safer. The king has a square to move to. Now I have a threat of rook e8. No time, but very exciting. What a chicken. The guy knows that he has no options. That one I saw, but... Jopte. Five or. Where am I now? 28. What do I have? 28, 71. 23rd. I will be 23rd. Okay, he decided not to play. Yeah, and perhaps this is a good moment for us to stop. I would say I'm not your bra, yeah, so don't need to challenge me, and especially if you have what was there, 1000. This is not a stream where I play with viewers, so no need to spam about that. Actually, I won almost everything today. Like there were a few draws, won some rapid games, won some blitz games. Yeah, actually I played 10 blitz games, 8 wins, 2 draws, and 4 rapid games, 4 wins. Okay, very good. Very good. Thank you everybody for joining, and I will be probably streaming Title Tuesday, and then again next Saturday. Next Saturday, maybe approximately this time, like maybe I will probably begin something like 2 hours back from now. So you would know. Yeah, the last game was very exciting, and that funny idea with pushing the B pawn, like, go, B pawn. The problem that actually with my king on e3, he could have taken the pawn, the queen on b8 with his rook, because rook e8 check, he takes on e8 with check, rook e8. But I was lucky he didn't notice that. So that's it for today. See you later, guys.